So that's over 6. And you're basically done from here. Your teacher may have emphasized that they really want you to divide both of these by 6. And you really can't divide, but you can rewrite it. So it'd be like 5 over 6 plus or minus the square root of 13 over 6.
Okay. She told me to not like worry about because we just got into it to
Okay.
just
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is it's like a preference. All right, so we're going to do a bunch more, but the setup here is always the same. You're going to set it equal to 0, like we just did in the first problem here. Let me scroll up and show you that. We're going to set it equal to 0 if it's not set equal to 0. You identify A, B, and C. You put them in the formula, and then you simplify. And that's really where most of the mistakes occur, is when you simplify. Sometimes there's something to do with the root, sometimes not. And then you write your answer. Okay, so we'll see here. We got number 2 here. Okay, so notice that it's already solved, set equal to 0. So that's A equals 2, B equals 2, and C equals -3. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right, so now it's X equals minus B, so -2. So notice I'm going to just substitute. I'm not going to try to evaluate it yet. B squared, 2 squared, minus 4 times A times C. So what I want you to do is focus on the part that's inside under the root and tell me what that becomes.
All right. For plus 24.
Okay, 4 plus 24. So what does that become?
Oh yeah, 28.
28. Good. So this becomes -2 plus or minus the square root of 28 over 4. So even though you got that first kind of thing done with the square root part, there's still more to do. You're going to end up doing something with this. You're going to reduce this root basically. So we use prime numbers for that. I think we've talked about this before: 2, 3, 5, 7, and so on. Does 2 go into 28?
Yes.
2 and 14. And then does 2 go into 14?
Yes.
2 and 7. So a 2 comes out and a 7 stays in. So it becomes 2 square root 7, like that.
Yeah.
So it becomes -2 plus or minus 2 square root 7 over 4. So you basically come off to the side, work on that, and then come back.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right, so again, we're going to go a little further because we got the time here. You divide each of these by 4, divided by the bottom number.
All right.
All right, so this becomes -1/2 plus or minus 2 divided by 4 is also 1/2 square root of 7 over 2.
Okay.
Anything their concern or any sort of like things where you're like, you know, that still don't think I understand, or
Not really. The equation and all the steps is kind of a little bit of a handful, but I think I got it.
it is, it's so the reason they don't, so by the way, this method works for all the problems you've done up until now. You can use the quadratic formula for, but it's a cumbersome formula. Like you wouldn't want to use this formula unless you absolutely had to. Like think of it as a last resort thing. You know, like you always hope there's a better method, but sometimes there isn't. All right. Okay. What is A? What is B? What is C?
A is 2, B is 12, and C is negative 18, or not positive 18.
Yeah, I moved it over. I sort of didn't say anything while I did that. Yeah. Now, one of the things that you can do is first calculate the part that's under the square root. So this is kind of another approach to doing these problems. I mean, it's the same, but it kind of like makes the steps a little bit easier here. Would you calculate b squared minus 4ac for us, please?
Sure. $144 minus 144, so it'd be 0.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Now, does that surprise you?
Yeah, it cancels out.
Yeah. So there's some possibilities here for the solutions. Okay. And I guess this might be as good a time as any to sort of bring that up. So the solutions have many different forms. They can be friendly, which means they might be whole numbers that you're used to, or integers like -2 and 3 and 5, things like that.
Yeah.
Okay. As part of that, kind of as like a sub, they could be repeated. Okay. It could be like the answers could be like 2 and 2 or 3 and 3. Okay. But what's
Yeah.
also possible is that they're unfriendly. Okay. And that means that we've already kind of seen it's like -1 plus or minus the square root of 3, or -2/5 plus or minus the square root of 5/5. These are unfriendly. And all of this is based on what you just did. Like the result of this tells you whether the answer is friendly or unfriendly. All right. So let's keep going on this problem here. So you've already done some of it for us. It becomes -12 plus or minus the square root of 12 squared minus 4 times 2 times 18 all over 2 times 2. But this part under here you said was 0, and I agree. It's -12 plus or minus the square root of 0 over 4. What is the square root of 0?
0.
0. So this just becomes -12 over 4, which is -3.
Okay.
Any questions on that?
No.
All right. Okay, so this one's bad. It's got does not equal 0. You see that? So it's you're gonna have to move things, and you actually have a choice here. You can either move things to the right or left. It really doesn't matter here. And if you want some explanation on why that is, I could definitely show you that graphically, why that matters. But for now, do you want to move the 3x to the left and the 4 to the left, or the the minus 5x squared to the right?
I'd move the minus 5x to the right because
Okay, so we're going to add 5x squared to both sides. So it becomes 0 equals 5x squared plus 3x plus 4. And if you don't like the 0 equals on the left, you can just move it. You can just put it over there on the right. It's okay.
all right.
Okay, so now you label A, B, and C. What is A?
A is 5.
B is
B
3.
is 3.
C is the other number.
Yeah.
So again, I'd like you to calculate b squared minus 4ac for us. That's the part that's under the square root.
I got negative 71.
So you got 5 squared minus 4 times 3 times 4, like that. I'm sorry, 5.
Yeah.
Sorry. I really got the wrong number here.
Good.
5 times and this is wrong too. 3
Yeah.
3 squared minus 4 times 5 times 4. Yes. So
Yeah.
this is negative 80, negative 71, you said.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, now let's keep going here. X equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. All right, so here's what you just said. You said, hey, Matthew, the part under the square root is negative 71 over 2 times 5. Did you guys discuss what to do in class when you have a negative under the square root? It helps me to know
I
how to
don't
proceed.
remember.
Any chance you can quickly look at your notes to find out if you guys, because there's kind of two paths here. One is for me to say there's no solution. The other is for me to actually show you how to do this without, but you may not see it until Algebra 2.
I remember there was a way to.
Did you talk about this in class? Square root
Oh
of
yeah,
negative
the little I.
Yes. Yeah. So the answer here is that this actually has no solution in the real domain, because you cannot take the square root of a negative number in the real domain, but you can in the complex domain. So what does that mean for you? Well, that's what I was trying to get to. You have an answer here. Your answer is now possible. So you take that square root of negative 71 and you break it apart. It's really the square root of negative 1 times 71, or the square root of negative 1 times the square root of 71, like that. So basically we just pop out that negative, and that's what becomes I, letter I.
Okay.
Now, again, like I'm happy to provide some explanation why this is true or what this actually means, but you can also just say, hey, I'll just accept it as is and move on throughout the problems.
Yeah, I'll just accept it.
You just go with it. Okay,
Yeah.
very good. So this becomes -3 plus or minus I square root of 71 over 10. The I generally is put in front of the root, not to the right, because it kind of stands out better there. Okay, and then you can divide each of these by 10. Like that.
Okay.
Any questions on that?
No.
All right. All right, so I'm gonna quickly solve 5 because I was gonna ask you to do it, but I'll make sure it actually works out nice without any weirdness for you. So give me just a moment here. Okay, yeah, this one's okay. So why don't you try number 5 on your own? As always, if you have any questions, let me know. But it's ready to go. You just have to specify A, B, C, and put it in the quadratic formula, work it out. Let me know if you have any questions, but it is nice. It does work out nicely.
All right. I got -1.5.
Okay, let me just double check here. You got just the one answer?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I did something wrong here. Okay, let's look at it together here. So A is 3, B is -6, and C is 3. So
Yeah.
it's opposite of B, -6, plus or minus the square root of B squared. So -6 squared minus 4 times 3 times 3. Is that what you have?
Yeah.
All over 2 times 3. What did you get under the square root? What does parentheses -6 squared minus 4 times 3 times 3 become?
I got 36 minus 36.
So it goes to 0. I agree. So that means we're up to 6 plus or minus the square root of 0 over 6.
Yeah.
So the square root of 0 goes away. So this becomes just 6 over 6, which is positive 1.
I'm trying to like look at where I got the wrong answer. I wrote the wrong number. It was one of those times where I put the wrong number, like completely random number, and my head's like, I'm gonna put this number here.
Well, you've seen me do it a number of times. I'll be saying one thing, writing another, vice versa. It's good to write the formula each time. It's really good to do that. You really got to make sure the numbers are actually the numbers, like you just found out. So let's work on another one here together, sort of. Let's look at number 6, and then we're going to kind of deviate to some of the other ones. Well, actually, they're all kind of the same. Eight's the one we got to do because it's a little bit different. We'll start with 6 here. Notice it's already set equal to 0. Let me grab a snip of that. All right. So A is 1, B is -3, C is -8. I'd like you to calculate the B squared minus 4AC for us, please.
All right. I got -23.
For the part under the root.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me check it here. -3 squared minus 4 times 1 times -8. Just double check that those are the numbers you have here.
Yeah.
So it is 9. And then here's where you got to decide. Are you going to treat this as -4 or 4 times 1 times -8 and then subtract it? And either way is fine. I'm going to look at it as subtracting 4 times 1 times -8, so that's -32. And you can see you have the 9 plus plus, so you get 9 plus 32 or 41 there.
Okay. I see the error. I only had one minus symbol.
Yeah, but you might want to say, hey, I like looking at it as -4. So -4 times 1 is -4 times -8 is +32. Then it's 9 plus 32, which is still 41. You saw me mention this over and over again in the beginning. Most of the mistakes are made under the square root. That's where most of the issues occur. All right. So we've got though the numbers down. It's -3 plus or minus the square root of 41 over 2 times 1. The square root of 41. Can this be reduced? What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
So what number goes into 41? That's the follow-up to that. Does 2 work? Nope. Does 3 work? Nope. Does 5 work? Nope. Does 7 work? Nope. And so we've gone past that. What number squared gets you to 41? So this is actually a prime number, and it has no reducing abilities. So this is 3 plus or minus the square root of 41 over 2, like that. And we'd write it as 3/2 plus or minus the square root of 41 divided by 2. Any questions on that?
No.
All right, so let's look at 7 here. What is the first step in 7? What's the first thing you have to do to be able to use the quadratic formula here?
Move the 15 to the other side.
Yeah, you're going to add 15 to both sides. This becomes x squared plus 8x plus 15 equals 0. All right, this one has 2 really nice solutions. I'd like you to try working this one out as far as you can. I'm telling you that in advance so that you know you're kind of looking for something that does work out. So give that a try. Let me know if you have questions along the way.
Okay.
How are you doing on this one?
Pretty good.
Are you getting two nice solutions, or how's that coming out here?
I'm getting to, yeah, I'm figuring it out. I forget when dividing, does the square root divide like a normal number?
What did you get from the square root part? We'll start there before we get
I
that.
got square root of 4.
Okay, and that becomes what? What is the square root of 4?
Okay, yeah, it's 2.
2. Okay, good. So sometimes students are told, or it's described as like a case 1, case 2. You have to really do two things here: -8 plus 2 divided by 2, -8 minus 2 divided by 2.
Yeah, she said that would happen sometimes.
Yeah, and that's that. So you add the tops here: -6 over 2, -10 over 2, -3, and then -5.
All right, we got that one.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to do the next one here on your list. It's the one I think it's x squared minus 49. Just double check. I was looking at another problem you've got here. So yeah, it's x squared minus 49 equals 0. So sometimes you know the answer, but they're telling you, they're like, you must use completing the square to solve, or sorry, quadratic formula to solve this. Like, you have to do it the way that they want. You might want to rewrite this as x squared plus 0x minus 49 equals 0, because you want to make sure you get those coefficients right. A is 1, B is 0, and C is minus 49. All right, so now when we write our formula out for this, it's minus B minus 0 plus or minus the square root of 0 squared minus 4 times 1 times minus 49 all over 2 times 1. So you do the same thing. You still put the numbers in. You have to evaluate it. It's just that it does work out pretty nice here because of that. All right. So now this part under the square root, that's the one that's most difficult. The 0 squared is 0. 4 -4 times 1 is -4 times -49 is -176.
Okay.
Yeah, or I'm sorry, positive 176. So it's plus or minus the square root of 176 over 2. And the square root of 176 is 14. So this becomes plus or minus 14 over 2, which is plus or minus 7.
Perfect.
All right, so all right, what is the first step to solving this one?
Got to move the 20 to the other side.
Yeah. And the reason I keep asking is like this is kind of it's an area where most students, they don't do it, and then you get just totally the wrong answer with this. So I'd like you to do the b squared minus 4ac this time for us.
All right. I got 304.
Okay. So we're gonna have to take the square root of that, and this is where it does reduce, and you start with 2. All right, so 2 and 152, 2 and 76, 2 and 38, 2 and 19. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so now for each pair of 2s, you can bring one out. So that means it becomes 2 times 2 square root of what's left over, which is the 19. So 4 square root 19. All right, so you might find that a good strategy is to like do the b squared minus 4ac first before you populate the entire formula in here. So in this case, it is the square root of 304, 2 times 3, but we're going to replace the square root of 304 with the 4 square root 19, and then you divide everything by the 6, so minus 8 over 6, 4 square root 19 over 6, and that reduces to minus 4/3 plus or minus 2 square root 19 over 3. Let me know when you get all that down. We'll see if we can quickly do 10.
I got it.
All right, so let's get one more done here. X squared plus 2x plus 5 equals 0. So a is 1, b is 2, c is 5. x equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c. So this time, all over 2 times 1. This time the part under the square root becomes the square root of -16. And that's written as square root of -1 times the square root of 16. Square root of -1 is I, square root of 16 is 4. So you end up writing it as 4i. Okay. So it's -2 plus or minus 4i over 2. That actually came down here. And then you divide each of these by 2. So it's -2 over 2 plus or minus 4i over 2. So you got -1 plus or minus 2i like that.
Or
All right, so I'm sure we'll be doing more of this on Thursday. If you know, if you didn't get it all tonight, that's okay. You'll